We'll be getting started here in just a few more minutes. I'd like to welcome everyone to our second panel discussion of the 5th annual Southeast Kansas Pride Celebration. We're coming out. We're so excited to be able to bring Pride to Southeast Kansas for the 5th year in a row. Who could believe that it's been 5 years since we launched our first Pride and 6 years since we launched Project Q&A. It's been a wild ride, and we are so grateful for all of your support and all of our community partners that have joined us along the way. Before we begin tonight's panel discussion, I'd just like to talk about a couple of items. Tonight's discussion is part of our Q&A Talks, and our Q&A Talks is a program that we launched this year in partnership with the Independence Public Library through a grant that connects parents and caregivers of LGBTQ youth with the resources that they need and want to ensure that their children can live a safe and authentic life, no matter where you call home. And so tonight was a panel that we had to reschedule from this past spring when we launched the program, but we wanted to bring it back for Pride because we were really excited to feature some really amazing LGBTQIA youth. But our official Q&A talks take place on every third Wednesday of the month at 7 p.m. live on Facebook. You can log into Facebook, watch it at 7 o'clock, and then following the presentation at about 7:45, we end up having a live Q&A session with the presenter on Zoom. Tonight, that's not going to happen. We're just going to have the live streaming. But if you would like to be involved with Q&A talks or just be involved with Project Q&A, we are accepting volunteers, and if you go to our newly designed website that you see on our screen, which is projectqa.org, you can find out all of the wonderful information about volunteering with Project Q&A. Even if you don't live in Southeast Kansas, we can still use your virtual volunteering hours. So head over to projectqa.org after this presentation and check out our volunteer opportunities and check out our new website as well. But tonight, without further ado, we have two panelists. One will be joining us here in a few minutes. But we've got Tegan Cardwell, who graduated from Independence High School. They're going to start off our panel discussion, and as soon as our second panelist joins us, Jessica Wyrick, we'll loop them in as well. Without further ado, let me stop sharing my screen and pass it on over to Tegan to share their story.
Hi, my name is Tegan. I live in rural Kansas. I came out to my family when I was 13 years old at the end of 8th grade. I first came out to my dad, stepmom, then shortly after that test run, I came out to my mom and stepdad. I was shown a lot of support through both of them throughout my life and the ever-changing life of that is me. I entered high school when I was 15, found new friends and new family to intermingle with my life with. And then I graduated, like you said, in May of this year. I haven't currently gone to school just yet, just been working. I guess that's basically it. It's just not that very interesting, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, are you ready to dive into some questions?
All right. Yeah.
Awesome. So the first question we have for tonight is when and how did you know you were ready to come out?
To be honest, I didn't really know when I was going to be ready to come out. It was more, if I don't do this now, I'm never going to get to it. I've always been like that way with me. If I don't do it now, I'm not going to do it ever. So when I first came out, it was more of like a hypothetical question at first to my mom. It was, so what if I did say I was gay at first, but at the time, then I was still identifying as female. And she deadpan looked at me and says, I wouldn't care. It would change some things, but I wouldn't care. Um, but that hypothetical led up soon after to the real coming out to my dad and stepmom at first, as being transgender at 13. After that, I did it for the first time to my dad and stepmom, and then to my mom and stepdad. And when I did it the second time, I was so scared because it wasn't a hypothetical, but it kind of led my parents on, oh, my child is going to come out, but we don't know as what. But it was for real that time.
So, did you have anything that really motivated you besides just if it was or negative or anything that made you want to come out to your friends or family?
Gosh, it was my friends at the time. They were coming out. To be honest, it was more my younger sister's friends on too as well. They were coming out to their family. They were coming out to their friends. And I was like, well, why can't I do that? Wait a minute. It started to get some cogs turning, like, wait a minute.
Nice. So what tips do you have for people that might be considering coming out?
Well, it's different for everybody. So unfortunately, there are some instances where your home life is not, it's not ideal for situation. For those people, I say wait till it's safe. Wait till you think it's okay, but don't let the idea just die down within you. Kind of bring out, kind of see where your family is overall, because it's just the terrible situation if it's not accepted within your family. But it's a good idea to see if they are. And if it is, like my family, I had no idea. I just kept up bringing up ideas of, hey, what about this? Hey, the so forth hypothetical question. And it was me testing out the waters to see where my family was. That's pretty much all the advice I have for that right now.
And you mentioned on the parent side about how to deal with issues that you might have, and you mentioned that your parents are very open and accepting. But how do you talk to your parents about issues that might arise due to your sexuality?
Well, to believe it or not, my mom bought a book for what to do with your gay child. I found it on her desk one day and I laughed for some reason because I thought, wait, she doesn't know already. And honestly, it probably was better because it gave her an idea what to do. Sure, like I said, every situation was different, but it gave her an idea that, hey, do some research. Hey, talk to your child, see what they're comfortable with talking about, and maybe they'll figure out, hey, you're comfortable talking about some certain things. But ultimately, when my dad's stepmom, I just told him, keep an open mind. Hey, so when I brought up the idea of hormone replacement therapy when I was 13 years old, I told them my opinion on it, what I wanted to do, and they told me their thoughts on it. And we came up to a happy medium. I couldn't start until I was older, and I was okay with that because they were okay with me starting that.
So real quick, I just want to remind everybody in the that's watching, if you do have any questions, place them in the Facebook chat, and we will collect them and bring them up at the end of the presentation. But so you've given some really great advice about how to come out, when to be ready, and how to manage parents. Let's try to put on a little different hat now. And what advice can you give to parents who have kids that have came out or that identify as LGBTQIA?
So I'm just going to say this simply: listen to them. Everybody has their own thoughts and opinions on things. They might want to tell you how much this makes them feel and how it changes so much, when in reality to you it doesn't look like much. It just get them to get to know the one that they want you to know, if that makes sense. But ultimately we love being heard.
That's really great advice, listening. And I know when I came out to my parents, my mom said that, I had 21 years to figure out who I was. It was going to take time for her to figure, or to not figure it out. But so yeah, listening is a great form of advice for parents.
Yeah.
So once you came out to your parents, and how did you manage coming out at school?
It was difficult. Everybody who knew me before I came out, and they knew me as that person, and some people just didn't want to bother meeting the new me, but it was always me. In middle school, I lost a lot of friends when I came out because their parents didn't accept it, or they just didn't accept it, or I was changing too much. But I had some pretty great teachers that always were proud of me being who I am, and they just didn't, like, it was more of the matter of fact, you're who you are. I'm not going to change that. You're not going to disrupt me during class. That's basically it.
I think before I met you, I knew about you from your teachers talking very highly of you. So, let's see. Do you have any advice for those who might be considering coming out at school?
Find your people. Sometimes in cases you lose touch with those who you met in high school after you graduate and everything, but these people will give you like the strength to be able to meet new people who you will fit in with, or who you will find as your found family. In some cases like mine, I haven't talked to my friends in high school since I graduated, and it made me sad, but it's giving me more opportunities to meet new people.
I like that, found family. Do you have any advice for those that are currently out at school that might be struggling?
Just put yourself out there. And here's a cheesy quote from any movie with sports involved. It's like, you miss all the shots that you don't take. It sounds cheesy to hear it, but it's still pretty current and modern to this day. You pretty much, you can't do anything if you don't try.
I like that. So we went through the coming out process and school and parents. Let's kind of shift some focus a little bit and talk about teachers. Why, as an LGBTQ student, what could teachers do to better help their students, or as a former student?
Be inclusive. If it's something you're uncomfortable with, just don't bring it up that you are uncomfortable with it, because some students just will shut off or shut themselves down in your class if you just say that out loud or something like that. But be inclusive. In 8th grade, I had a science teacher who had the unfortunate opportunity to have a segment on sex education and stuff like that. But he started out like this. He handed out note cards to all the students. And he said the following: ask me anything, whether it be about gender identity, sexual identity, or anything on the matter. I've seen it all. And that's what, like, and I was so surprised because all the kids asked such genuine questions. What was transgender? What was being gay? And he answered them to his extent. He researched them the night before, and like, because it was one day at the end of class, he handed them out. Next day, he had everything ready for us to be answered. He did his research.
So that was one teacher. How could you find teachers that are supportive? How can you go about seeking out those teachers?
Well, there's some things teachers can do so they could be sought out. Putting up something pride in your classroom, so those kids who are in your classroom, so they know they're safe with you. My aunt is a athletic trainer at her high school over in the Wichita area, and she has a pride button on her bag that she takes out to all the football games and everything, and even in her classroom. And all the kids, my mom told me that kids from other teams asked her for her to stretch out their legs or get ice or anything because their athletic trainer or their coach was not so accepting.
Oh. Nice. Let's see. Let me look at my notes here. Do you have any advice for those who might not be out yet at school?
Again, the same with the family. Make sure you're in a safe place. Make sure you have that found family rather than your family. Your found family at school make sure they're comfortable with it, know their opinions on it, and whether or not you can somehow help them be open-minded if they're not. Sometimes it's the same. Your family, your related family, you don't seek out for them. They are given to you the day you take your first breath, but your found family, it's a little bit easier and a little bit harder at the same time because you haven't been around them. You haven't grown up with them sometimes. But honestly, it's just see where they're at. And if you are ready to come out at that time, it's now or never, I guess.
One more question. This is for ally. What advice do you have for allies?
Again, with parents, listen, do research, go to events if you can, and most important, speak up for those who can't be heard. And on top of that, be compassionate. You don't understand what everybody's going through, and not everybody's the same. You can't put a label on it before actually saying your first word to them.
So one last question, and this goes back to the schooling. I just thought of it, but do you have any advice on how to start a GSA at your school if it doesn't have it already?
Oh my gosh, guidance counselors. Everybody dreads going to the guidance counselor, but my guidance counselor was so excited for when I said I wanted to do something. Create an email, put up or ask your guidance counselor if you can put up flyers in your school, because that's what I did. Put that email on there asking if people would be interested, and even if opening it up to what is your story and what can we do, show people statistics on why this can be beneficial and everything. Just there are resources in the school, you have to look for them.
Do you have anything else you'd like to add, or things that we didn't touch on that might be important?
Everybody comes out in different stages, whether or not like me at 13, or you can be 53 and you finally come out. It's different for everybody. Everybody's their own individual person. So don't be afraid that you're too old to come out or you're too young. Just it's your whole life is you finding out who you are and how you fit into this world.
Sorry, I was looking at the wrong screen. So that concludes all the questions I had. But there is a few in the chat, so I'm going to go over to there real quick. If you have any questions at the moment for Tegan, go ahead and throw those up in the comments. And there is about a 20-second delay between Zoom and Facebook. So we'll kind of hang out, but I'll start asking the questions that are in the comments now. And the first question is, did you benefit from opportunities like participating in different Pride celebrations in your area?
Yeah, I did. I did so much. I went to, I think it was a year or two ago, I went to the Southeast Kansas Pride event. They had a little carnival thing, and I was so excited because I saw so many people I see out in the daily at Walmart or at different stores, and I'm like, oh, we share some common ground, and it's good to be seen. And I went to my first big pride parade in Tulsa when I was 16 with my dad and stepmom. They took the whole family, and it was great because it was a lot of love there. It was great for everybody.
Awesome. The last question that we have right now in the chat is, what would you like to see for future youths have within their reach?
More opportunities in school, more openness and more inclusivity into the school system. I feel like because school takes up a large chunk of a youth's life, and if they're open to that, because children are very impressionable, whether it be in the wrong direction or the right direction, it's what you show in your everyday life. So I think schools who bring in more inclusivity into all situations benefit from the youth figuring out how this world can be beneficial from seeing those voices and seeing them like in history or even in science.
Well, that's all the questions we have in the chat. I want to thank you for being brave and sharing your story and taking the panel and being more of a conversation between us. So thank you very much. And thank you all for tuning in and watching. That concludes our panel discussion tonight. Just to recap the rest of our events throughout Pride, we have tomorrow and Friday our two final Lunch and Learn workshops. Tomorrow is the 1960s LGBTQ, and that's done by or presented by Stuart Hines from the Gay and Lesbian Archives of Mid-America. And on Friday, we have Luz Cruz from the Queer Kitchen Brigade, Queer Kitchen Brigade, an organization, sorry, I cannot say it tonight. It's been a long day, my apologies. It's an organization that helps LGBTQIA individuals affected by climate change. Those are our two Lunch and Learn workshops. Our social for tomorrow night has been canceled due to COVID. But on Friday, we have moved our drag show to the 4-H building at the Riverside Park and Zoo. And that starts, doors open at 7, and it is a ticketed event. The show starts at 7:30. You can order your tickets on projectqna.org. For that, we had advertised that Dusty Ray Bottoms will be headlining that event, but due to COVID, we asked them to not come and postpone their visit to Kansas until it's safer for more people to congregate and see their performance. And then our Saturday event is moved to the band shell at the Riverside Park, and that starts at 5 o'clock, and there will be live entertainment, vendors, speeches, and a picnic. We'll be providing a sack lunch for the first 100 people that show up. So you won't want to miss that. That's Saturday at 5 p.m. at the band shell. And once again, I want to thank our panelists tonight for joining us and all of you for tuning in, and we hope to see you at all the rest of our events. Thank you and have a great evening.